Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of NC-17. My name is Josh, and today with us we have an actor, director, producer, writer. I think he's got his hand in every single head of in the entertainment industry. We got Devon Oman. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. So before we get into the movies, because there's actually quite a few things I want to talk about there. Uh, if you could give a little bit of a background of like, was this something you wanted to do as a child and growing up into it and are growing into becoming into it and stuff like that?
Oh, for sure, man. So horror movies has played a big part of my life since I was a kid. My grandparents would watch like Godzilla, King Kong, and my dad would watch like Creature from Black Lagoon, Frankenstein's Monster, Dracula, Mommy, and then he would get into like the slasher films like Jason, Michael, Chucky, all those classics, right? My mom was more into like Alfred Hitchcock, Psycho, The Birds, and the thrillers more. And yeah, I got my love from all of them basically. And I started watching horror films when I was like probably 5 or 4, probably. Not the greatest age to watch horror movies, but whatever. My parents taught me like this is fake, this is not real. So like that's what made me appreciate them more too and understanding. And for filming, I got a video camera cord, like a camcorder, when I was super young. Is like my family's camcorder. I use it more than my family probably. I would take it, I'd film my action figures, my wrestling figures. I would go film my pets doing weird things in the backyard and just stuff like that. And then I started like getting my parents involved, and I would get my brother and get them in doing little short horror films with me, some cheesy things. And then after that, I met a group of friends in high school, and we started doing like $0 low budget horror films about killer puddles and killer doors and just a killer Santa Claus, just ridiculous things out there. But fun. Like I had a blast. Is $0 a weekend with friends filming movies. What more can you ask for? Um, it's good, man. It was fun times. I don't regret any of those things. And then after high school, I met a good friend called Bob Taylor. We did YouTube shorts spoofing famous horror films on a $0 budget film. So we'd go and make Freddy Krueger. I'd have the sweater, and then I'd get myself like gloves, but put butter knives on attached with duct tape because we had $0 and we're just having a blast with it. People liked it a lot. We grew a fan base for those little cheesy films. Then one day we were watching a movie together called Bachelor Party of the Bungalow Damned, and it was something out there, that's for sure. And we're like, you know what? Why can't we do something like this? And we started brainstorming ideas like let's do a zombie film because that's when Walking Dead was just starting, so that was a huge craze for zombies then. So then we're like, you know what, let's have our friends be the hunters and let's be our friends be the zombies and whatever, right? We'll put an ad out there looking for zombies, looking for actors, but people probably won't go for it. They're like, what is this? Shockingly, people started messaging us. Like a lot of people were like, hey, I want to be a zombie. I want to be a zombie. I like to act. And the radio station picked up on it. They promoted it, and that's when things like blew up with like the whole zombies. We probably had about 300 zombies in the first one.
Dang.
Yeah, man, on like a very low budget too. That's the thing. Like, it was like $800 budget film. And the best thing about our films is we donate the proceeds to SPCA to help out the rescue animals. We don't make money from these films. We've raised about $35,000 just for our local charity for rescue animals over the years from events and our merchandise.
Oh, that's awesome. Before we go any further, bro, you got a gnarly beard.
Oh, thanks, man. I've been growing it for close to 5 years. This October will be 5 years.
Uh, uh, little known unknown secret about me. I used to have a long beard too, but then when I got married, my wife was like, "Yeah, you need to cut that." So
Oh no.
yeah,
Oh, that's fair. It gets tangled everywhere. It gets in my shirt and seatbelt. I collect food in it daily, probably.
oh yeah. So your first film was Zombigeddon.
Yeah, is Zombiegeddon 1, $800 budget, is about like these survival people that are trying to survive the apocalypse, and there's zombies going on and there's hunters. So there's a lot of things going on in that film. It's fun. There's a lot of fun. It's cool to be a part of it. I never really acted too much, but my friend Bob Taylor trusted me to be an actor with these other people that have way more experience than me. And I was like, man, you're putting me with like people that have done acting, little theater, and then there's me, and I was like, oh man, you have a lot of trust in me, so I'll try my best and give it a shot. And it's fun. Like I definitely was not the best character, probably, best acting, but I had a blast. I actually had a shaved head back for that role. I had not much of a beard. I had maybe one or two tattoos. Now I'm like covered in tattoos. So
Oh yeah.
lots changed since then.
Oh yeah. It obviously has done good because you've gone all the way up to number three.
Yeah, Zombiegeddon 3 we did. I made a promise to myself years ago that I would never do more than three in a franchise. I've kept to that promise. I've never broke it. And it's cool. I like it because I don't know, like I don't know if I could do any more ideas for Zomgeddon after the third one. Even the third one I found was I was starting to lose some ideas there. So I was like, okay, it's time to tap out here.
Oh yeah. But between one, two, and three of Zombiegeddon, you've done other movies too. You got Swift Nightmares. If you could give a
Yeah.
brief synopsis on that and what your character is.
Yeah, Swift Nightmares 1 was filmed after Zomgeddon, and it was like three short films, vampires, a clown, and like a ghost story. I wrote the clown story. The rest were directed and written by other people. The clown one was cool because we had an abandoned building, and my friend, very good friend, Jared Johnson, a big dude, he played the clown. He's about 6'5", 400 pounds, very menacing, and he had this clown mask on, and he'd pick people up, and just scary dude, but gentle guy. Like he's an awesome guy to deal with.
Uh, who's your friend back there?
This guy, Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my rescue. I think he's in every podcast I've done. He always wants the attention. He's definitely way more cuter than me.
Uh, well, this is probably an episode that my wife would love because she loves animals.
Oh, I love animals. They're a huge part of my life. Always been a huge part of my life. I never had a moment where I didn't have a dog or cat or bunny. My parents were huge into animals. That's where I got my love for animals as well. So big thank you. Yeah, my parents played a huge part into horror movies and animals, and so yeah, I'm thankful for that. And this guy is a rescue. I
Uh,
adopted him 2 years ago. He was physically abused, he was
oh,
emotionally abused, and he still has trust issues, but this dude's like a big, gentle giant, if you know him.
oh yeah. Uh, so between writing, producing, directing, and acting, which one of those would you say is the most rewarding, and which one's the most taxing?
Good question. It's a good question. Um, the most rewarding would be writing, I think, just because seeing it come to life and you're like, oh, I wrote this. I came up with ideas. And it's like coming to reality. Like you're seeing it on screen, like that's cool. Like I wrote this idea and now I can watch it. And the most time consuming I would say for myself would be editing. Editing takes quite a bit of time to look at it. And I've been times where I watch it over and over and over. Even like 2 weeks before my premiere, I'm still like looking at it because I'm like, I know I can like squeeze it. I can little alternate stuff. And my friends told me a few times, like, man, you have to stop before you get too polished because this is what you're known for is that cheesy, campy fun. You can't have this film being like perfect, and it'll never be perfect. Like, there'll never be a perfect film out there because there'll always be mistakes, there'll always be acting flaws or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, you're just I do my films for fun. Like they're a blast to make. They're all volunteers and their budgets are like $200 or less. So it's a fun time.
Oh yeah. Uh, there are some specific movies I do want to touch on.
Yeah.
Uh, but before we get to those, there's a couple other ones here that I am looking at. Redneck Betty's Beaties.
Hmm.
Uh,
Um,
go ahead.
yo, yeah, sure, man. The Rennick Betties was our only non-horror film. I know that's shocking. We actually left it up to the Facebook fans for that one. We're like, hey, okay, we're making Redneck Betties. They're a roller derby team in Swift Current. You can have an action revenge story, which was gonna be like a machete type thing. Another one's like mockumentary, which is like Spinal Tap for anybody that's a big Spinal Tap fan. The third option was a horror film, but like Monster Squad, where the Bettys would take on these classic movie monsters, and that was the third idea. So mockumentary won, so we went with mockumentary.
Uh, that's that's awesome. I mean, it's to me, it's refreshing when like the directors and actors and producers and stuff, the people in the entertainment industry reach out to the fans and say, "Hey, how would you like our next movie to be?" Or any suggestions. So when you guys reach out, I mean, that's refreshing because it lets us know that you guys really do appreciate not only just the art but the fans also.
Oh, I love the fan. I met so many cool people. Even we were doing these ABCs of Death shorts on Facebook. That's when like the COVID 2020 was happening, so less filming was happening. What I would do is go on Facebook and be like, okay, give me an A word. So I'd get like 50, 60 people messaging me, give me A words. And I'd go on like a wheel generator thing and random. It'd go on random. It'd be like, you're gonna do a horror film about an anteater or whatever, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to figure out an idea and let's make it happen. So it was fun. It's cool
Oh
to
yeah.
interact with fans like that.
Uh, so there's I want to talk about one other movie before we get into the one that has kind of like draws me in the most. But let's
Oh,
talk
for sure.
about Axe Grinder 7.
Okay. Axe Grinder 7 is that's I actually was one of I never done it yet.
Oh,
I
okay,
never done
okay.
my part yet, so I don't know what I have. So I can't really reveal too much.
All right, all right. Well, we'll go on to the next one then.
Yeah,
You
once I get it all confirmed who I am or what I'm doing, I'll definitely I'll definitely reveal it.
uh you played Bradley in The Killer Balloon.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh
that's a good one.
if you could give a brief
Oh,
synopsis on that one and pretty much your character.
yeah, for sure. So The Killer Balloon was a film I wrote and directed with Corey Shimla helped me with direct with that a little bit. Killer Balloon was a special film. When we were wrapping up Vile Spirit in 2019, I believe, I started thinking of ideas like what is something so out there that has never been done really, but people are kind of annoying about like there's like the clown phase, like it and Pennywise and that, right? And like what hasn't really been touched upon. So like I started thinking of ideas like, wait a minute, there hasn't really been like a killer balloon movie. I'm like, that's shocking. Like that, most horror movies have been done, right? There's like bees, there's killer ants, there's whatever out there, right? It's
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm gonna do a killer balloon movie. And then I started writing it, and it became a very well written script, very emotional, very dark. Like there's some dark humor in it. It touches upon about depression even. If people, it's definitely a trigger for people the first 10 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
I had to put a warning in the DVD because of certain scenes in it. But yeah, no, it was a very emotional film, very funny because this balloon actually talks. We actually had the balloon talk and kill people in very creative ways. And the more emotional thing is that it was my friend's last film. My good friend, she was in a lot of our films, and she unfortunately passed away pretty much a few weeks after filming the movie. She passed away, so it's one of those films that holds a special spot in my heart because it was the last time working with her.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's nice to actually be in a scene with her too. Like I didn't interact with her too much, so it's cool to actually be with her and to be having her final movie be with her, and I'm happy that she was able to do it. It definitely plays a special spot in my heart, that film. The Killer Balloon Bradley character, I was this weird party type character. I had a Hawaiian shirt. I put a Hawaiian shirt with like rainbow, not rainbow, flowers and flamingos and that. Uh, that's another thing I actually left up to the fans too. I threw on Facebook and said, I think I had like 3 or 4 different photos of shirts. And I'm like, all right, you guys get to pick what shirt I wear. So then I had people, yeah, they picked the shirt that I got to wear in the film, and it was a big hit. I was a weird party animal dude, which is totally opposite of what I am in real life. I think that's what makes it funny because I don't drink. I'm pretty straight edge, so seeing me do all this stuff, I think people thought it was kind of funny.
Uh,
Um, I have a unfortunate death scene in it, so
all right.
yeah, no.
Well, before we continue, I am sorry for your loss.
Oh, thanks, man. It's not ever easy losing an animal or a friend or family. So,
Oh yeah. Uh, all right. So you were also in a movie that I actually own in my collection, Cage Fighter.
oh yes.
Can you go a little bit into the detail about your experiences on that set?
Oh, for sure. Cage Fighter was actually filmed in Regina, Saskatchewan, very near Swift Current, Saskatchewan. They had a little casting call thing there, and they wanted people for filling in for being fans and being there for the press conference and all that. And I'm like, cool, I'm down for it. Like, I love being on movie sets. Like, I've been on a few movie sets, and there's sometimes where you don't even see me on the movie, but it's just cool watching the process being happening. The press conference was at like a hotel, and yeah, we were like us front row watching John Moxley, which is a wrestler, if anybody doesn't know who he is. And then it was the editor actor, and then they did their press conference, and then they start going at each other, and like they're pushing the chairs, and it was like the chair like came down off the stage, even it got pretty intense. Like this is awesome, but John Moxley is so used to that kind of stuff, right? For being a wrestler.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. It's cool watching them improv lines too, because every scene was, it seemed like as the words and lines were different. So I think they kind of like, you know what, Moxley, do your thing, improv it.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. And then the other scene was in the studio in Regina, and they actually had like a green screen wrapped all around to make it more fans and that. And yeah, they actually had an MMA cage in there, and we got to see them do like the fighting and the throwing on the ground. They actually had like a GoPro camera on top of the person's head for the punch scenes like that, the more 3D. It was wild, dude. They had a lot of cool equipment. They had a lot of crew, a lot of crew in that one. So I was like, it is neat to see low budget horror films and low independent music videos. Then you got like a huge $1 million cage fighter movie, and I don't know, it's a cool process, and a lot of like people don't understand. It's not like a hey, here's an hour of filming, we're done. No, you're there for like good 12, 14 hours sometimes.
Oh yeah. Uh, so you mentioned wrestlers earlier, John Moxley. Now you're a wrestling fan.
Oh man, I that's another thing. I grew up in the 90s watching the Attitude Era, and I watched like the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior, and then the switch to like Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, my that's another thing. My dad was huge into wrestling. He would watch like Stampede Wrestling. He knew like he'd go visit like the Hearts at Calgary. He'd go watch them all the time. He knew when Owen Hart was like super young and Brett and all those guys. And yeah, he got to experience all that. And he gave my brother and myself are huge into wrestling. Yeah, no, I'm definitely a video game, wrestling, horror fan, the whole works.
Oh yeah. All right, so here's a wrestling question for you. Dean Ambrose or John Moxley? Which one do you like better?
I might get hate for this, but I like John Moxley more.
He seems more in tune with his character because he's got creative freedom. So I'm actually going to agree with you.
Okay, yeah. It seems like he is able to be himself more.
Yeah.
So I like that. I appreciate that. The dude's tall. Holy moly. And he's intimidating. I actually went in the elevator with him up to my hotel. He came in there with like grocery bags on his arm, walked in. I'm in there with the elevator. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, this dude is intimidating. And I'm not trying to like fanboy out, like, oh my God, I love you so much, man. Can I take a photo? I didn't ask for a photo because like this dude seemed to be very to himself,
Yeah.
which I get. Like he seems like he just sticks to himself. Um, but this was after when he had the Omega match, like Kenny Omega, is one of the first matches when they got the barbed wire trampoline thing, wherever it was,
Oh
and they
yeah.
got all scarred up pretty good. So you could see all the scars on Moxley still. And I was talked about that match and I was like, man, that match was wild and very, very crazy stuff, dude. And you got
All
me
right.
back into wrestling, watching AW and all that. And yeah, no, he's definitely intimidating type of dude, but seems very nice.
Oh yeah. All right. Sorry, that was a tangent. I'm sorry. I'm a wrestling
Oh,
fan
no
too.
worries, man. I love all the questions.
uh okay. We got to get into it. Gore first. That seems to be the one that I hear the most about and see the most about. Part one and two. Uh, can you go a little bit into those two movies and how they're different from each other and the characters you played?
Oh, for sure. Gorfers, we filmed in 2015. It was about 35 minutes, so it was a bit shorter. And I think it was around when Zombievers came out, I believe. I think that was the year when that movie came out. And that kind of inspired me. Like, oh, gophers would be awesome because Saskatchewan's well known for gophers and the farm and the prairies and all that. It's like, let's do a killer gopher movie. And I love the play on words, like Gorfers, like that's brilliant. Like that, I think that's one of my favorite titles, probably, just because it works out so good. So I had like these puppets. They're like Amazon gopher puppets. And they're expensive now, I think, but I got them pretty cheap back then. And yeah, so I'd have my actors use the gopher puppet and hide in different frames because man, puppets are hard to work with, especially on the budget. Yeah, so they're like mutant gopher puppets. It's because this chemical got poured down their hole to kill all the gophers in the farm, and then it like turned into like mutant zombie gophers, and they started killing these people that came to visit their dad, and it's a wild movie. Definitely one of my top three, I'd say, for my Dead Prairies productions. Gophers 2, we had a bit more of a budget. Um, we had a better camera as well, so we started to you could see the difference between the two. That was filmed in 2018, I believe, and I kept it. The first one they didn't talk. The Gophers just made sound effects. We actually used my friend's pig, and that pig made some weird sounds, so we actually just put that into the Gopher sounds. Weird facts, I know. Yeah. Gophers too. I'm like, you know what? I have to change up the Gophers a bit. I can't just have them like do the same thing. It has to involve like more like critters or ghoulies or something like that, right? Where they need to keep on increasing more. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put subtitles underneath them chatting now. So I put subtitles of them talking to each other. I'm like, that just adds to their personality, right?
Oh yeah.
And the third one, Gorfer's Final Gnaw, which is another one of my favorite titles, I think. And we made them talk in that one because they're like, you know what? They didn't talk the first one, subtitles. Third one, they're gonna make them talk. We're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
make them talk, and it was awesome because it gave them more personality. Even it definitely had that whole ghoulies, critters, all those fun little monster film vibes to it, and I find a lot of my films I go film, I would do little nods to those films. Like I do a little nod to Critters 2, or I do a little nod to Ghoulies with the toilet popping out. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to rip them off, but I just like my love letter basically to these films that I grew up with.
Oh yeah. Uh, when you said ghoulies and critters, I'm not even gonna lie to you. You kind of like that's my level of like that's my alien level if that makes sense, or my little creature level. Like I grew up on those movies also.
Mhm.
I'm more of a sleepaway camp kind of guy because that was the
Good movie
first
too.
movie I. Oh yeah, that's the first movie I remembered from beginning to end, word for word. I don't even have to have it on the screen, and I know what's happening. So,
Nice.
but personal question: out of the Critters movies, which one did you like the best?
Hmm. My personal favorite Critters movie would be number two, to be honest. Like, I think just because I think they gave them a bit more personality.
Yeah.
I think it looked better, and because like the first one is a bit more darker themed. It's very dark movie itself, like the lighting and all that, right?
Oh yeah.
And the second one, they actually started showing the critters more in broad daylight. Gave them more of a personality, a lot more humor to it, which I think it needed for the critters.
Oh yeah.
And the Easter theme, man. I love Easter theme movies too. Like there's not much out there, but I love that.
Oh yeah. Uh, little tidbit. I don't know if anyone knows, but Critters 3 was actually Leonardo DiCaprio's first film.
Yeah, man. I'd definitely make him sign that copy.
Oh
If I
yeah.
ever met him. I don't think he's gonna like it.
No, and I think part 4 was Angela Bassett's first film.
I think you're right.
Uh, so out of all the movies, sorry, another tangent. I'm sorry.
Oh no, man, go for it.
Out of all the movies you filmed, was there a certain prosthetic or certain effect that worked so good that you was like, damn, I want to redo this just so I could do it again?
Um, yeah, so like we did some like head stomping stuff back in like Zombiegeddon 1. It was like I kind of took the idea from Lloyd Kaufman for Trauma Entertainment for the Toxic Avenger. He had like a melon with like hamburger meat and they crushed the skull and all that, right? Me and my friend like we could probably recreate that. And man, we put like a cantaloupe and we put like we had like a hoodie on top of it. And then one of the redneck Betties stomped his head in for Zombiegeddon 1 and like it splatted out with like hamburger meat and blood and like man, like for a cheap effect, it looked really cool. So then I was like, I repeated that a few times, and then this last movie, I'm like, I had this toy car, and I had to ramp it on this girl's head and crush her head, and I had the same effect, and man, did it look cool because it caught her wig and it like dragged her wig away too. So I was like, man, there's blood, there's hamburger meat, and there's her wig getting teared off by this car. I'm like, awesome. It turned out way better than it should have.
We got about 9 minutes left.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure. Yeah, that's fine.
if there was some advice you could give to anybody trying to get into the industry in any facet of the industry, what advice would you give them?
It's a good question. I've had this before, and I hopefully I can say the same thing because the last time I said is pretty good. Um, so yeah, you'll have doubters, you'll have negative people, no matter what in your life. You'll have people that will put you down, but keep going, man. Like keep going, keep pushing through. Because I personally would have I could have quit. I could have quit early on because of all the negative stuff, but I didn't. And I keep on growing. I keep doing more things out there. I start making more better movies, better quality. I met some amazing people. So if I stopped way back, I would have never met some amazing people in my life. I would have never done the movies that I've never thought would possible. Just never keep on, like, never stop. Like, you'll have negative people no matter what in your life. Take that negativity and try to turn it into positivity because some of that stuff will help you build yourself. I there are people that will say shit to you like, "Oh, you suck," and that's it, right? Like, oh, that's not really much. I can't really build off that, right? But if they're like, hey, yeah, like maybe have more audio, have more better music, have better lighting, all that, you start to take that negativity, criticism, and build upon it. But yeah, my best advice is don't quit because of some person being jealous or just being negative, just being a negative person. Like there's keep doing it, keep following your passion. If it makes you happy, do it. I know my movies are not amazing and they're like $150 budget, but I'm having a blast and I've have amazing people in my life.
Uh, no, I mean, that's awesome advice because at the end of the day, everyone should push forward and say the hell with the haters. I agree with you. You know, I mean, when I first started talking about doing a podcast, everyone was like, "You don't know nothing but horror movies and wrestling." So, believe it or not, this started out as a wrestling podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
But I was on someone else's platform, still friends with the dude to this day. But the thing is if you got 15 wrestling shows, you're gonna get lost in the shuffle. So I was like, I gotta flip it. Became NC-17, and then I kind of went off on my own. Well, I have a co-host, but we do our own thing. But it's advice like that I took myself. So that's why I say that was awesome advice. You know. Sorry, again, another tangent.
No, I think it's good. Like there's a lot of young people out there too, right? If they get hit down by all this negativity and all that, I'd hate for them to stop following their passion, right?
Oh yeah.
So just keep on doing it. You'll never know what you can achieve if you just it's endless. It's endless possibilities. Like there's so much things out there that I never thought I'd reach, but I just kept going.
Oh yeah. Uh, did you want to take a minute or two and plug all your socials and where people could see your films and stuff?
Oh, for sure. So you guys can follow myself or Dead Prairies Productions on Facebook or Instagram or X or TikTok, all those social media platforms. We have a online store for DVDs called PayHip Dead Prairies Productions. They're $10 each, and we can ship to anywhere in the world. We ship to Japan, we could ship to Australia, US, Canada, doesn't matter. They're $10 each. Shipping is probably gonna be more than that, but the proceeds will be going to SPCA. It helps out the animals. We don't make a dime from these films. And that's what I want to keep on doing. I never want to see a amount of money going towards myself making these films. I want that to stay to animals and just keep on doing something I love doing. And yeah, big thank you for inviting me on this podcast. It's been a blast, man. It's been awesome. It's really cool. Uh,
Uh,
all your listeners, big thank you. If you listen to this, I hope you guys check us out. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, big thank you. I wouldn't be here without people like fans and yourself.
I appreciate you coming on. Uh, it, I agree. It's been a blast, and I also learned from watching some of your movies and some of your trailers never to put my arm down a hole because you never know, you might get it gnawed off.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh yeah, but I want to thank you, Devon, for coming on. And anybody who comes on NC-17 has a home with us. You can come on anytime, even if it's to say you got a booger in your nose.
Awesome, man. No, I'd love to come back on. You're a chill person. I love your horror knowledge. I love your wrestling knowledge. You're
Uh,
awesome, man. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right,
Thank you so
everybody.
much, man.
Till next time, stay NC-17.